You know, in any negotiation, there are these little pieces of information that, if you could just find them, would change absolutely everything. They're hidden, they're unexpected, and they are powerful. Former FBI hostage negotiator Chris Voss, well, he calls them Black Swans. So the question is, how do you find these invisible levers that can unlock any deal? Let's dive in.
To really get the power of a black swan, we have to start with a story. A story where everyone thought they knew the rules and paid a terrible, terrible price for being wrong. We're going back to 1981 to the Rochester hostage crisis.
So on June 17, 1981, a man named William Griffin goes on a rampage. After killing 3 people, he storms a local bank and takes 9 employees hostage. For hours, it's this incredibly tense standoff. Then, at 2:30 in the afternoon, he delivers a chilling message with a hard deadline, 3 p.m.
Can you imagine getting this message? It came through the terrified bank manager. The choice was just brutal: have a public shootout, or he would start executing hostages. And the police? They had 30 minutes to make an impossible decision.
Now, you have to understand, at the time, law enforcement kind of had a rule book for these things, and this was rule number 1. It was what they called a known known. Hostage takers don't kill on a deadline. It was always seen as a bluff, just a tactic to get a helicopter or some money, or just to get the negotiators' attention.
But at exactly 3 p.m., William Griffin broke that rule. He shot and killed a 29-year-old teller named Margaret Moore. And in that one moment, a permanent, inalterable truth was just shattered. This event, this shocking, system-breaking event, that is exactly what a black swan is.
That tragic event, as you can imagine, forced the FBI to reevaluate everything they thought they knew. It was a brutal introduction to the concept of the black swan, the things you don't even know that you don't know.
Think of it this way. A black swan is something that just completely blindsides you because it exists outside of all your past experience. It has this massive impact, and it's only afterwards, with the benefit of hindsight, that everyone looks back and says, oh, of course, we should have seen it coming.
So information in any negotiation really falls into 3 buckets. First, you have your known knowns. These are the obvious facts, like the other person's name. Then you have your known unknowns. These are the questions you know you need to ask, like, do they have other offers? But the real power, the game changers, those are the black swans. And they live in that 3rd category, the unknown unknowns. These are the critical facts you never even thought to look for.
And if you look back at the Griffin case, the clues, the black swans, they were hiding in plain sight. First, he wasn't demanding any money, which is a huge red flag. He was already a multiple murderer before the standoff even started. And then there was this bizarre, rambling note he made a hostage read, a note so long the police never even finished it. If they had, they would have found the key line, "After the police take my life." He didn't want to escape. He wanted suicide by cop.
Okay, so these things are hidden, they're powerful, but how in the world do you actually find them? Well, the key, according to Voss, is to understand your counterpart's worldview, what he calls their religion.
And let's be super clear here. Religion is a metaphor. It could be their actual faith, but it's really about their core values, their unstated rules, the things that truly drive their decisions. It's the why behind everything they do.
This was used brilliantly back in 2003 with a farmer named Dwight Watson. By listening, and I mean really listening, negotiators learned his religion was built on 2 pillars: his pride as a military veteran and his devout Christian faith. His military code told him he couldn't surrender for 3 days. That seemed like a dead end, right? But then an agent uncovered the black swan. They realized the very next day was the dawn of the 3rd day, a powerful Christian idea of resurrection. By connecting his faith to his situation, they gave him an honorable way out, and he surrendered peacefully.
So finding these black swans isn't just some cool intellectual exercise. No way. It is the key to the single most important concept in any negotiation: leverage. It's how you gain the upper hand.
Black swans basically supercharge your leverage in 3 different ways. You've got positive leverage, that's having something they want. You have negative leverage, your ability to inflict pain or a loss. But the most subtle, and honestly the most powerful, is normative leverage. That's using their own rules and standards against them. When the FBI used Dwight Watson's Christian beliefs to persuade him, that was pure, brilliant normative leverage in action.
And listen, this isn't just for high-stakes hostage situations. One of Voss's students was looking at a commercial property deal. It was 100% occupied, a total cash cow. So why on earth would the owner sell it? The move just seemed irrational. And that, right there, is always the biggest clue that a black swan is hiding somewhere.
So, after some careful digging, the students' team uncovered the hidden truth. The seller wasn't selling this amazing property because he wanted to, he was selling it because he had to. He was desperate for cash to cover massive losses on his other properties. And boom, that completely changed the dynamic.
And just look at the result. That single piece of hidden information, that black swan, revealing the seller's desperation, it gave the student all the leverage they needed. They negotiated the price down by $750,000, from $4.3 million down to $3.55 million. That is the incredible power of finding out what's really going on.
Okay, so how can you start hunting for these game-changing secrets in your own life, in your own negotiations? Well, it really comes down to a few key principles.
So how do you actually start hunting? First, you got to challenge your own assumptions. Don't let what you think you know blind you to what's really happening. You need to dig deep into their worldview, their religion, to find what truly motivates them. And maybe most importantly, when the other person seems crazy or totally irrational, don't walk away. Lean in. That is your biggest clue that you're missing a hidden constraint or some hidden interest. That is where the black swan is hiding.
So I'll leave you with this one question for your next negotiation. Whether you're buying a car, asking for a raise, or hey, just deciding where to go for dinner, the next time someone's behavior makes absolutely no sense, don't just write them off as crazy. Ask yourself, what hidden black swan am I missing?